Oh, snap. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining another episode of Pryce on Purpose. I just dropped my pen. Brought to you by Waste Off Podcast and Waste Off Wednesday. I'm your host, Stacey Pryce. Today is June 16th, allegedly. No, it really is. It is June 16th, 2021. I can't believe it. The time is just flying by. I want to thank you guys for joining us, which is me, on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I hope you guys are well. You see, I didn't catch that. I'm trying to see where my hair is sticking up. All right. But yeah, I hope you guys are well. It's another week. I can't believe we're in the middle of June already. This year is flying by. The pandemic is, I don't know what it is anymore. I don't know. Let me move back a little bit so my head's not all up in the screen like that. But we've been through a lot, right? We've absolutely been through a lot. And here we are today. We are blessed. Okay? Let me tell you, this week, I don't know about you guys, but I have been practicing waking up and doing what I used to do. Now, what I used to do is when I was working my 9 to 5, I would wake up every morning and say, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Thank you so much. I'm not thanking anybody per se in particular, but you know what I mean. For those of you that know what I mean, just living life more graciously in a way where I am grateful for what I have, who I am, and where I'm going. Because let me tell you, a life that doesn't have gratitude, it could be stressful. It could be really stressful but when you realize how blessed you really are and you get down to the simplicity, it could be a phenomenal thing. Even in moments of stress, you could actually be able to dig into your spirit and dig into your purpose and be like, you know what? I got it. I got it. I got it. So today is the day. Let me tell you, I was reflecting this morning when I should have been asleep. I was actually awake after 2 a.m. this morning, listening to videos. Something I love to do is listen to, I guess I've told you guys, like I started to listen to the Bible a little bit just to understand like that perspective. But also I've been listening to more so the Direct Line by Earl Nightingale. And it was so interesting. He was bringing up a book by, I forget his name right now, but he was pretty much saying how everybody wants to be autonomous, meaning like being on your own, be able to make conscious decisions, being able to be like, yes, no, and be consistent with it. Some people that, we may recognize in history and in entertainment, what they like to do is make a conscious decision and then not go back at it. Because once you go back to it, that's when you get into this moment of confusion. It could be frustration. It could be a whole lot of stuff. But once you make a conscious decision, you got to leave it alone. Because I used to do that. I'd be like, yes, no, maybe, okay. I don't know if you guys have felt that, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the blame game, because I was reflecting today as I was listening to a lot of things, and I was just absorbing what I've gone through in my past and kind of like trying to understand where my process was, not only in thought, but also in action or inaction, depending on the situation. So I remember when I used to work in customer care. So for those of you that know me, I have over 17 years of experience in customer care. And I used to be a coach where I would help people on the telephone to get not only through the call, but to really connect with the customer and be able to move the conversation forward. Because we have moments, that's why I said, sometimes we have moments of inaction in a call where there's just moments of just he said, she said. And I think we can even think about that in relationships too, right? Like, you ever have an issue with your partner and then you guys are just talking at each other, but nobody's really listening? That's the thing about being proactive and reactive, because some of us listen to reply and we don't actually listen to understand. And that's where communication has a struggle, because listening and actually absorbing the information gives you the ability to think and understand somebody's perspective. Now, it's okay if you don't agree. Like, for example, when I used to teach people on the phone, I'm like, look, listen to what this person is saying. I'll give you an example. So this is like years ago. I was on the phone with a customer. Hope he's well, actually. I really hope he's well. I was on the phone with a customer for probably over 30 minutes. And this particular person, he was very upset. Like, I mean, upset to the point where he went down to the center to take care of his bill, and they had to call the cops on him because he was acting out. And he ended up calling customer care, and who gets him on the line? Me. Yay! So I'm on the line with him, and he is going off. He's saying all sorts of stuff. But here's the thing. Some people will listen to this person, press the mute button, totally disengage from the call, and just let the person vent. And although sometimes you do need to let somebody vent, one thing is you do need to confirm is understanding. Because if you don't confirm understanding, think about humans, right? You don't reply back with what this person said. They're going to be like, you didn't hear what I said. You're not listening to me. You know what I mean? And they're going to feel some kind of way. So I remember speaking with him, and I'm listening to what he's saying. And he went from complaining about the bill and things that he was dealing with to eventually talking about his family and talking about how he works hard and he does his best to take care of them. And I was just like, you know, when you really listen to what people say, I feel like everybody has moments where they speak in layers. I know I have. I've spoken layers before where it's like, I have the actual issue that happened, then I have the issue I think that happened, and then I have how I feel, then I have something of the past, right? It's like, what? You know what I mean? It's like, you remember when this happened, and you remember, and this again, and you didn't pay attention. It could be tough. It could really be tough. So for this particular person, I realized what the root cause was. So that's the thing. First and foremost, understand the root cause, right? Some people will share it, some will. And the thing is, you'll only capture it if you're listening. And that's why it's important to just absorb. You don't want to just listen and then just reply back blank. But you didn't, but you didn't, but you didn't. That's not communication, because what that is, I call tit for tat. And tit for tat doesn't solve anything. Tit for tat is, you're telling me what I did wrong, and then the other person saying what you did wrong, and then where do we go from here? Like, what is the conclusion? What is the resolution? What is the end result here? Like, where do we go? Do we just have this like weird space? I used to do that in my relationships. Like, they'd be like, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm done. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you ain't done with this chocolate drop. But you know what? What I had to realize is in those moments, I wasn't listening, okay? Because ego sometimes, which is our sense of self sometimes, and where we believe that we're right, we believe that this is the way. We're like Star Wars-ish, like this is the way, you know what I mean? And although that may be a way, it is not the way, because the way would be something where there's this the middle. You know what I actually forgot to do? Please, guys, if you can, click like and click share on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me to reach more people, and it helps me to continue to grow my channel and get it to the next level. So I'd appreciate that. But yeah, you know, I had to think about it in the tools that I gained, you know, with those types of communication. Because the thing is, it's about the ability and the opportunity to resolve, right? That's really what it's about when you communicate. Because there may be situations, don't get me wrong, there may be situations where you got to walk away and you just got to leave it for what it is, you know? But usually there's this middle space, you know, where it's like, okay, this will be done, that will be done, this will, that won't, next time I'll do this, whatever, and so on and so forth. But there has to be this like middle space. And sometimes you get there and sometimes you don't. But the thing is, you can't take it personally, right? Because actually, I think we were talking about this yesterday on Spontaneity. By the way, Spontaneity, the show I do with Sean Dustin, Maria Daniels, and myself every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch. And we were talking about, you know, listening and being able to kind of take ownership in different situations, and also understanding whether somebody has the tools or not to meet in the middle, you know, because at the end of the day, we have different upbringings, we have different expectations, we have different feelings. We, you know, for example, like this little doohickey here, my brother got me, right? You remember when these were popular? Remember these things? Everybody was like, I gotta get me one. I gotta get me one. This was before the fidget spinner, right? And I used to sit by my coworker and I would just be clicking away at this and I was stressed out. Like, you know what I mean? I used to be clicking at it, right? And, you know, sometimes it may bother somebody, right? Because they need to listen in silence or whatever the case is. Everybody's different. So in order to know, right, that this is annoying, someone has to express it, right? And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I used to be the person where, what is it? I would get stuck in analysis paralysis. I'd be like, what does this mean? What is that? Where is this going? Why is this person saying this? Why? Like in my relationships, right? And I had to take it for face value. That's what I learned. This person is expressing their feelings, and that's it. Because I'm a very deep thinker. For those of you that know me, you know I'm a deep thinker, right? So I will absorb and I'm like, but what if? But guess what? What if that's it? Like, it's real simple. You know what I mean? And you kind of have to just like let it be. Like, let it be. And make a decision, you know, and be like, okay, well, what's the outcome here? What's going to happen? Where are we at? You know what I mean? And it is what it is. Sometimes it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, in my last relationships, I think I learned a lot about communication and listening, because I used to mimic other behaviors of my past where I would just be like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It's all your fault and everything. And you know what the funny thing is? I was Googling today because the internet is such a great place. And I realized that was actually a defense mechanism to not accept the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? Because for me, it was, I didn't tell this person what I was looking for. I didn't tell this person what my vision was. And, you know, eventually what ended up happening is sometimes it could be the point where that person shouldn't have been in your space in the first place. Okay? I've had that too. Sometimes we're really nice and we let someone into a personal space and they shouldn't have been there in the first place. But at the end of the day, we don't know, because we got to try. It's kind of like you see shoes on the shelf. It's like, well, I like the color of the shoe, but does it fit? You know what I mean? Like, I love Crocs. And Maria's going to be like, ew, Crocs. I love Crocs. I used to hate them. I used to think they're the most disgusting things in the world. I was like, what's wrong? Why are you wearing plastic shoes? Like, there's so many materials on this planet. Why are you over there in plastic shoes? Nana put them on, and I was like, plastic shoes are pretty cool. But anyway, sometimes you try the shoe on, and then you're like, that's not the way I thought it was going to fit. But we still walk in it, right? We still walk in the shoe. We know the shoe don't fit. It doesn't fit. You're not a size 7. You're an 8.5. And then you're sitting there going through the pain, right? It's like, take the shoe off and get a new one. Or, you know, oh, you remember back in the day, I remember my mom used to have the shoe stretchers. It's like it looks like a foot. It's like a piece of wood, and it's got like this thing, and you like turn it, and it like widens the shoe. I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Hey, It is what it is. But yeah, like some of us do that, right? Be like, okay, this is gonna work. I promise this is gonna work. This is gonna work this time. It's gonna work. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. And then it doesn't work. But then we still go, nah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. It's gonna work eventually. And then it doesn't. I did that so many times in past relationships. So many times. Man, let me tell you, one thing I learned was, I'll share something a little personal. So when I started dating women, I used to also watch this show called The L Word. Shout out to all the people on that show. So for some reason, I felt that the L Word was reality in some place in my mind. That's on me, okay? In some place in my mind, I thought the L Word was reality. I thought that a relationship with a woman was supposed to be constant, like, disconnect and extreme highs and lows. Like, oh, we're having a great day, everything's fine. I hate you. I don't want to be with you anymore. Let's break up. Like, I actually thought in my reality that that's the way a relationship was supposed to go. Granted, also people around me experience the same thing. So why would I think anything different? You know what I mean? That's why it's so important to be mindful of the company that you have, because sometimes it could like feel like a normal zone, even though deep down you're like, I don't like this. But sometimes it's like that's the reality. That's the frequency that you're operating out of, right? So I actually used to think that that was okay. Like, by them breaking up with me like every other week. Like, I thought that was normal. I thought that, I actually consciously thought that eventually it would wear itself out. Oh, it wore itself out, all right, but not in the way I wanted to at that time. But I actually thought that the relationship, because what I was seeing, I was like, okay, I thought that the disconnect was part of the learning, and that by constant, she said, and also the craziness, I thought eventually it'd fizzle out. I thought it would eventually just normalize itself, and then we'll have that moment where it's like, you know what, I hated you at first, but now I'm realizing we were meant to be. Like, I actually really thought that that was the way it's supposed to go. And then I started to stop watching a lot of those shows, right? Not because I didn't like them, but I stopped watching them because I realized for me, I was taking it and learning from it and attaching it to what I thought was tools or were tools. And I was going against my intuition. Let me tell you something. If I share anything today, don't go against your gut instinct. That never lies. Your gut instinct is the truth. It may scare you. It may shake you up a little bit, but your gut is always right. Not your mind, your gut. There's a difference. Your gut instinct is truth. So, granted, I used to think that these relationships were supposed to be like that. But then what I started to realize is I started to change my environment. I started to listen to my gut instinct. And I started to actually look for other resources, because not only do we focus on, you know how some people say, be careful what you eat? You gotta not only be careful what you eat, you gotta be careful what you listen to and what goes in your mind, what you watch visually, right? So the thing is, what we have to be careful of is that sometimes we normalize toxic behavior and think that it's okay to behave in that manner and think that that's supposed to be the it factor, meaning the way of life or the way that it's supposed to be, right? Like some people are like, oh, I can't stand my kids suck. My kids are this, my kids are stupid, my kids are this, blah, blah, blah. Because that's the way we were raised, right? We were raised on, I know I was fear, but like, if you don't, the threat, the element of the threat, you better clean your room, or you better do this, or, you know what I mean? So the thing is, it takes courage and understanding and maturity to grow out of the things we find normal, okay? Sometimes the things we find normal are actually detrimental to our sense of self and our growth, okay? Sometimes we think it's okay, but it's actually not okay. And that's what's happening right now in this world. We're starting to connect with many people, right? Because the beauty of the internet, we get to reach out and connect to all people that we didn't know. You know what I mean? We start to understanding and we start to express ourselves or connect, I would say, to other cultures and other ways of life. And sometimes we're like, shoot, I wouldn't do that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But it's very important to listen to you. I appreciate the love, DBA Mechanics. I appreciate it on Twitch. But yeah, you gotta be careful. You know, you gotta be careful in a sense where you look at self before you look at others. Because, like I said, I was one of those people where I would blame my exes for everything and be like, well, it's all your fault, and you didn't, and why didn't you, and you this, and you that. And then now that I got, you know, a little more mature and I started to express or connect myself to other forms of knowledge, right? Then I'm like, I start to ask myself different questions. Because the thing is, just like David Goggins says, you know, the one thing that we don't master enough is our minds, right? We don't spend enough time understanding our minds. We don't spend enough time reflecting self. And that's really what meditation is. I think I spoke about this last time. Meditation is sitting with yourself, being grateful, just having that connection with self. And at the end of the day, meditation could be whatever you decide it to be. But really connecting with yourself and digging deep to see, like, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? What am I trying to communicate? Why is this a trigger for me? Because let me tell you, I realized I had so many triggers that I didn't even know were triggers. Each relationship expressed a different one. And I had to look and be like, okay, well, what exactly is bothering me here? Oh, I don't feel like I'm being heard. Or what exactly is bothering me here? Oh, I feel disrespected because X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So this is the tip for this week. If you should get into a disagreement with your partner or so, ask yourself some questions. Did I listen? Did I listen? Because the thing is with listening, the only way to confirm that you listen, and I used to tell everybody this on the phone, is to reply back with what the person said. Because if you just reply, most people will think that you did not hear them. And if somebody doesn't think that they're being heard, they will repeat it. And it happened all the time on the phones. You would get somebody would get a customer, and they're like, they keep saying that they made the payment, but I keep saying I don't see it, but we just keep going back and forth. That's what you're going to get, because that's what you put out there as well. So you both think about it like this, right? It's like the game of tug of war, right? Tug of war, one person got the rope, the other person got this, right? And you're just tugging. But there's no what's happening here? Where's the outcome? You know what I mean? All you guys are both doing is exerting energy. And where does that energy go? Does it go to resolution? Does it go to indecision? Does it go to disagreement? Like, what is it? Like, what's the next step? Come on. Like my girlfriend says, come on. That's the thing. You got to think about the outcome of a conversation. And I am playing with these business cards, but I don't know why. I'm literally playing with business cards. I like to fidget with things when I talk. But that's the thing that I realize, you know, the thing is when you step away from the blame game, you get a sense of freedom. Because what I had to realize is when I was on the phone, I thought that I could resolve every call. I really thought I could resolve every call. And I really thought I had the ability of fixing everything. I actually did. I was like, look, let me tell you, get the expert on the phone, all right? Like, I'll speak to him. It's going to be great. That's not always the case. The thing is, we win some, we lose some. And you got to be okay with that. And at the end of the day, the root, like I said, the root is not taking it personally. So I'll be on the phone, the customer would be so upset and everything, and then they start the name calling and all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, all right, I get it, sir. I'm a whatever you just said. All right. I know you want to fix this. Okay. Here's what we got to do. Right. And they may or may not listen. They may or may not listen because they're stuck. They're stuck in that moment. That's what I'm saying. Some people might be stuck. You have to be okay with that. Like, let it go. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. And that's where your freedom comes up, because it's like, at the end of the day, one thing that is true is everybody has free will. Everyone. I don't care who it is. Everybody has free will. It's not no, she made me and he made me and he don't, she don't. It's not that. It's, I felt like this and I felt like that, but what is it? You know what I mean? You gotta let that stuff go. You gotta let it go, because if you don't, you're never gonna be free. Mentally free. Mental freedom is the ability to be and let be. Walking into a situation with nothing to prove. Can you imagine? Can you imagine walking into a situation with nothing to prove? I want to share one of these last things here. Some of you may or may not be religious, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But as I was realizing in the Bible, what I see the constant message is that the truth is always the truth. Like, it is what it is. You will always be this, or you will always have this entity or spirit with you, and you will always get what you need to thrive, and it's up to you to see it. If you are in a state of worry, concern, complain, you will never see how blessed you really are. And I take that into everything I do, because what I've realized is that the only thing I can control is me. And at the end of the day, I am not responsible for another person's feelings, but what I am responsible is for how I perceive and how I act. That's it. Like, for example, I know a lot of us drive, right? So I'd be like, so-and-so cut me off, and they flip you the bird. And like, that's actually happened to me before. Like, I remember I was driving somewhere and I was like, oh shoot, I kind of didn't stop too long at a stop sign. And some guy just like flipped me the bird. And I was just like, all right. You know what I mean? And some people be like, you didn't flip him back. You didn't do that. What am I proving? What am I proving? Like, what is this? Like, what is the point of that? What is the point? Okay, so say I flip him the bird back. Now what? Because what we forget is that this is a tennis match, right? You hit the tennis ball over, right? I hit it back. So when does it stop? When does it stop? You know what I mean? There's ownership you gotta take. Because at the end of the day, life is made of the choices that you make, right? So think about it the next time. Like, if you should be in an argument or a disagreement or something with your partner, like, really think about it. Like, what is happening here? Ask questions. That's the thing. You got to ask questions, because sometimes we don't understand. Sometimes I may say something like, okay, are you saying that you feel a certain kind of way because I didn't feel a dishwasher? Or like, what is happening? If this person is open and receptive to the communication, continue it. And the thing is, that's the thing. Sometimes we have to walk away from the conversation, because sometimes the person needs space, and we have to respect that. Because some people are like, I don't want to go to bed angry. You got to do this. You got to do this right now. Ain't nobody got to do anything. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody got to do anything. What you should do is be like, look, here's a suggestion. I know you're upset. Let's discuss this later. Is that okay with you? Or, you know what? I'm really upset and I don't want to say something that I don't mean. So would you mind if we speak about it later? That's okay too, because sometimes you need to like calm down, be like, yo, let me tell you, I used to take a drive and I'll be like angry, like, yo, did this person just, I need to get that version out first and then come back and be like, hey, let me ask you something. Is this true? Because sometimes we may see it here, but it ain't what happened here. Okay? But that's the thing. If you do use that as a tool to go back and reflect, make sure that you actually do go back and speak to the person about it. Like, make sure to do that. But the tools that I provided today, what I wanted to mention is that there is freedom in your emotion. There is freedom in letting go versus holding on. Because let me tell you, when you hold on to a grudge, remember that movie, The Grudge? The movie was creepy. I didn't see it, but I remember every time they would play the ad on TV, not only would I mute the TV, I would be like, nope, we ain't gonna see that kid crawl down back. Nope, 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 nope. But yeah, so what did we learn today, right? We learned that the blame game does not serve or help anyone. We learned that communication is a major key. Communication is a major key. But we can't communicate if we don't listen and absorb the information. We got to absorb to listen and not listen to reply. Listening to a reply doesn't help anyone. This ain't no tit for tat. This is listening to confirm understanding. And the way we confirm understanding is by saying back what the person said and confirming if that's what they meant. We got to meet in the middle. And that's how you prevail. That's how you grow relationships. That's how you understand how people think. And at the end of the day, sometimes you got to walk away. Okay? Because some people don't always have the tools. And sometimes you may not have the tools. But it's okay to walk away. Guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to another episode of Pryce on Purpose, brought to you by Waste Off Podcast and Waste Off Wednesday. This is another Wednesday talk. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Make sure you be the change that you want to see. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, you ain't got nothing to prove. Just be yourself. Apparently Uber Eats is sending me, let me tell you something about Uber Eats. Uber Eats want to send me a coupon or a code when I'm not ordering anything. But when I am ordering something, they ain't want to send me no discount. It's all right. I still appreciate them, though. Bless up to Uber Eats for changing the industry of delivery. Isn't that crazy? Remember back in the day, you used to get like pizza delivery. You'd be like, yeah, here's $5. Now you go in an app on demand. On demand. You could deliver groceries now. You even got, do you realize the life of never leaving your house is a reality? You don't need to go to any store ever. Like ever. Do you realize that? You don't need to go to any store. Do you guys like that? I actually did try and practice, like, I'm never going to go to the store. I was ordering clothes, food, everything. I was like, I'm never leaving the house again. What's the point? What's the point of leaving the house? Get everything delivered to you. Next thing I know, I just need somebody to come and do my hair. And then we good. Give me a sponge bath every now and then. I ain't doing nothing ever. Guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Be strong. Develop that mental toughness. And remember, growth is important. If you think about it, if you're behaving the same way that you were at 20, you never learned anything. Think about that. Think about that. One thing I did learn is that Lunchables aren't healthy, but they're tasty. Still eat them every once in a while, but not as much. That's it, guys. I appreciate your time. Like I said, I appreciate you. Always, 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 every time you come in here, please click like and click share on this video. It does help me to reach more people. I am trying to grow my channel, and also I am on the road to 1,000 likes. So please make sure you follow me on social media. It's at Waste Off Podcast. I want to thank everybody that's also listening live on Podbean. If you don't have Podbean, you could always download it in the App Store. Thank you for those that joined me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I just got a reminder. I'm going to do a Peloton workout at 7:30 with a buddy of mine. And I ate like a whole bunch of halal food. So we're going to see how this goes. It's at 7:30, so I got like 2 hours to like digest. Say digest in quotes, whatever. But I want to thank you guys for your support. Be well, stay strong, and learn thyself. I'll talk to you guys next week at 4:55 p.m. on Wednesday. Later.